They told us life is long. They told us we have time. Time to fix things. Time to chase dreams. Time to become happy. But look closely, life is not long. Life is now. And the greatest tragedy is not death. It is living without ever truly being alive. How many moments have slipped through your fingers because your mind was somewhere else? In yesterday's regret, in tomorrow's anxiety. We wake up, but we are not awake. We breathe, but we are not alive. We exist in memory and imagination, but we abandon the only place where life is actually happening, this moment. The secret to living fully every moment is not hidden in the mountains, not locked in ancient scriptures, not reserved for monks or mystics. It is closer than your heartbeat. It is the simple, fierce act of being conscious. When you are fully here, not half here, not distracted, but fully present, life stops being ordinary. Every sound becomes music. Every breath becomes power. Every second becomes sacred. You see, the problem is not that life is short. The problem is that we are scattered. Our energy is fragmented. One part of us is replaying an old conversation. Another part is rehearsing a future that does not even exist. And in this division, we miss the miracle unfolding right in front of us. What if you chose to experience this very moment with total intensity? Not tomorrow, not when things are perfect. Now, because the truth is, there is no later to live. There's only this breath, this heartbeat, this chance. When you master your inner world, the outer world loses its power to disturb you. When you become conscious of your thoughts, your emotions, your reactions, you stop being a victim of circumstances. You become the creator of your experience. And that is freedom. That is aliveness. Living fully does not mean doing more. It means being more aware, more present, more involved. It means tasting life deeply instead of rushing through it. It means understanding that this ordinary moment is not ordinary at all. It is existence offering itself to you. Right now, as you listen, life is happening. Not in the past, not in the future. Right here. The question is, are you here with it? We live as if we have an unlimited supply of tomorrows. We speak the language of delay so fluently that we don't even notice it anymore. I'll start next week. I'll be happy when. I'll enjoy life after I succeed. And in that quiet habit of postponing, we unknowingly postpone life itself. The illusion of time is not that it exists, it's that we believe it is guaranteed. We assume there will always be another sunrise waiting for us to finally become serious about living. But time is not a promise. It is a movement. It is a constant unfolding that does not pause for our hesitation. Every second that passes is not just a tick on a clock. It is a piece of life that will never return. Yet the mind tricks us. It convinces us that the future is where real living will happen. It paints beautiful pictures of one day while stealing the power of today. And so we sacrifice the present moment at the altar of imagined tomorrows. We say we are preparing for life, but preparation becomes our escape. We plan, we calculate, we wait for perfect conditions. We tell ourselves we are being responsible. In truth, we are being afraid. Afraid to act now. Afraid to feel now. Afraid to fully engage with what is in front of us. The illusion of time feeds this fear by whispering, "Relax, you have plenty of it." But no one has plenty of it. We only have access to this moment. Look at how often we rush through experiences just to get to the next one. We rush through school to reach work. We rush through work to reach the weekend. We rush through the week to reach the vacation. And then we rush through the years wondering where they went. This endless postponement becomes a lifestyle. We are always on the way, but never truly arriving. The trap is subtle because it feels logical. Of course we must plan. Of course we must think about the future. But planning should not replace presence. When the future becomes more important than the present, we start living in imagination instead of reality. Life becomes a concept rather than an experience. The truth is simple and powerful. The only place life ever happens is now. Yesterday exists as memory. Tomorrow exists as possibility. But this breath, this heartbeat, this second, this is real. When we postpone joy, courage, love, or action for a later date. We are gambling with something we do not control. Time does not wait for readiness. It moves whether we participate fully or not. And if we continue to believe we can start living later, we may one day realize that later quietly became never. Awareness is the doorway most people walk past every single day. It is simple, silent, and always available. Yet it is the most neglected dimension of human experience. We think living fully requires extraordinary events, big achievements, dramatic changes. But the truth is, fullness of life does not come from what is happening around you. It comes from how deeply you are aware of what is happening within you. Most people move through life mechanically. They react instead of respond. They speak without noticing their words. They feel emotions without understanding their source. Their thoughts run on autopilot, repeating old patterns, old fears, old desires. And because there is no awareness, there is no choice. Without awareness, you are not living consciously. You are being lived by your habits. Awareness changes everything. The moment you become aware of your thoughts, you create distance from them. You realize you're not your anxiety. You are the one noticing it. You are not your anger. You are the one witnessing it. This small shift is powerful. It transforms you from a prisoner of your mind into the observer of it. And in that observation, freedom begins. When you are aware, even the simplest experiences become rich. The taste of food becomes vivid. The sound of wind becomes meaningful. A conversation becomes deeper. Awareness brings clarity to ordinary moments. It sharpens your senses. It slows down time, not by changing the clock, but by expanding your perception. Suddenly, life feels fuller, not because more is happening, but because you are truly present for what is happening. Awareness also reveals how much energy we waste in unconscious reactions. A careless comment from someone can ruin an entire day, but only if you are unaware of how your mind magnifies it. When you are aware, you see the reaction rising within you. You see the story forming. And in that seeing, you gain the power to choose differently. Instead of being dragged by every emotion, you become steady. Instead of being pushed by every thought, you become centered. Living fully is not about controlling life. It is about experiencing it completely. Awareness allows you to experience joy without clinging, pain without collapsing, success without arrogance, failure without despair. It brings balance because you're no longer lost in extremes. You are anchored in observation. The doorway has always been there. It does not require belief, special talent, or perfect conditions. It requires attention, the courage to look inward, the willingness to sit with your own mind without distraction. When awareness becomes your way of being, every moment opens up. Life stops feeling like something happening to you and starts feeling like something unfolding through you. And that is where true aliveness begins to take root and expand in ways you never imagined possible. The present moment is the only arena where life truly unfolds. Yet the human mind rarely stays there. It drifts backward into memories that cannot be changed and forward into futures that have not yet arrived. We replay old mistakes, relive old conversations, reopen old wounds. Then we jump ahead, imagining scenarios, predicting outcomes, fearing what might go wrong. In this constant movement between past and future, we abandon the only place where we actually have power, the now. The past has its place. It offers lessons, wisdom, experience. But when it becomes your identity, it becomes a burden. If you define yourself by what happened years ago, by a failure, a betrayal, a loss, you carry that weight into every new moment. You stop seeing life as fresh. You see it through old filters. Presence shatters those filters. When you are fully here, you're not reacting from yesterday's pain. You are responding from today's clarity. The future also has its function. It gives direction. It allows planning and vision. But when the future becomes an obsession, it breeds anxiety. You begin to live in anticipation instead of participation. Your mind becomes crowded with what ifs and what nexts. You sacrifice peace now for security later. Yet the irony is powerful. The future you are worrying about will only ever arrive as another present moment. If you do not know how to be present now, you will not know how to be present then. Presence is power because it gathers your scattered energy. Instead of dividing yourself between regret and expectation, you unify your attention. And when your attention is unified, your experience intensifies. You listen more deeply. You speak more consciously. You act with greater precision. Even simple tasks become meaningful because you're fully involved in them. There's a certain strength that arises when you stop running mentally. You feel grounded, stable, clear. Decisions become easier because you're not clouded by emotional residue from the past or imagined pressure from the future. You see situations as they are, not as your fears interpret them. This clarity leads to better action, and better action naturally shapes a better future, not through worry, but through awareness. Living in the present does not mean ignoring responsibilities or forgetting history. It means not being psychologically trapped by them. It means understanding that this breath is real, this moment is alive, and your experience is happening here. When you learn to anchor yourself in the now, life stops feeling overwhelming. It becomes manageable, tangible, immediate. And in that immediacy, you discover that peace is not something you achieve someday. It is something you access whenever you return fully to this moment and allow it to be enough. Most people spend their entire lives trying to control the outside world. They try to control situations, control people, control outcomes. They believe that if everything around them falls into place, then they will finally feel balanced, peaceful, fulfilled. But the outer world has its own intelligence, its own movement. It does not bend to personal preference. And when your inner state depends entirely on external conditions, you become fragile. You become reactive. You become a puppet pulled by circumstances. Mastering your inner world changes that completely. It is the shift from attempting to control life to learning how to handle yourself. Your thoughts, your emotions, your reactions, these are the true instruments of your experience. If you do not know how to manage them, even a small inconvenience can disturb you deeply. But when you understand your inner mechanics, even chaos around you cannot shake your foundation. Inner mastery begins with observation. You notice how your mind jumps to conclusions. You notice how quickly emotions rise and fall. You notice the patterns, the same triggers, the same fears, the same doubts repeating in different situations. Instead of suppressing them or blindly acting on them, you learn to sit with them. In that space of awareness, you gain control not by force, but by clarity. When you are in charge of your inner state, success does not intoxicate you, and failure does not crush you. Praise does not inflate your ego, and criticism does not destroy your confidence. You remain steady because your stability comes from within, not from shifting opinions or unpredictable events. This steadiness is power. It allows you to move through life with grace instead of constant tension. Mastering your inner world also means taking responsibility for your experience. Instead of blaming circumstances for your anger or disappointment, you recognize that your reaction is yours. That realization is empowering. It means you're not helpless. It means you can reshape your response. And when you change your response, you change your entire experience of life. This does not mean you will never feel pain or struggle. It means pain will not define you. Struggle will not control you. You will feel deeply, but you will not drown. You will act decisively, but you will not act blindly. There's a quiet strength in someone who has mastered themselves. It is not loud. It does not seek validation. It simply stands firm. When your inner world is aligned, the outer world becomes easier to navigate. Challenges turn into opportunities for growth. Obstacles become lessons instead of threats. You stop waiting for perfect conditions because you realize the real condition that matters is the state of your own mind and heart. And once you have that, life stops being something you endure and becomes something you consciously shape from the inside out. Most people are not tired because life is hard. They are tired because they are half living, half committed, half present, half engaged. They move through their days with low intensity, conserving energy, waiting for something extraordinary to happen. But life does not reward hesitation. It responds to involvement. The difference between an ordinary existence and an extraordinary experience is not luck. It is intensity. Choosing intensity does not mean rushing. It does not mean stress. It means bringing your full energy into whatever you are doing. When you speak, you truly speak. When you listen, you truly listen. When you work, you give yourself completely to the task. Intensity is about depth, not speed. It is about participation, not pressure. It is about refusing to live on autopilot. Look at the moments when you felt most alive. It was not when you were distracted. It was not when you were numb. It was when you were fully engaged in a conversation, in a challenge, in a dream you cared about. In those moments, time seemed to disappear. Your senses were sharp. Your heart was open. That is intensity. That is aliveness. The tragedy is that many people reserve this intensity for rare occasions. They wait for big milestones, special events, dramatic opportunities. But life is not made of milestones. It is made of small, repeated moments. If you bring intensity only to the highlights, you miss the beauty woven into the ordinary. The secret is to treat every moment as if it matters, because it does. Intensity also means embracing emotion without resistance. To laugh fully, to love openly, to work passionately, to face challenges with courage instead of avoidance. When you hold back out of fear, fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of loss, you shrink your experience. But when you choose to step in completely, even uncertainty becomes exciting. Even difficulty becomes meaningful. Aliveness is not something that randomly strikes you. It is a choice you make again and again. You choose to wake up consciously. You choose to engage instead of withdraw. You choose to give your best energy to what is in front of you. And when you live like this, even the simplest day feels powerful. Because in the end, living fully is not about how long you live. It is about how deeply you live. It is about refusing to let moments slip by unnoticed. It is about breathing with awareness, acting with purpose, and loving with courage. So if this message moved you, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe.